Okay, okay. Let me see something here. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We in the game. We in the game. We in the game. Yeah, we in the game. Okay. Got the vertical joints back in this thing like you thought I was finna say it. Hey man, if you know, you know. But y'all, man, welcome back to Diz 3 TV. I know it's been a minute. It's been a couple days, actually, maybe like a week and some change since I last been live or dropped some content. I haven't dropped a short video or pre-recorded or went live in quite a minute. We did go through a bit of a storm out here in Houston. They had Hurricane Beryl, and being a California native, I ain't used to none of that. You feel me? It made me rethink this whole Houston thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Had they put this in the brochure, had they put this in the brochure, I'm sure a lot of people would not move here. But you know, they do have a lot of great things to offer. So you know, what might not be right for me may be right for some, and vice versa. But yeah, man, we in this thing. You feel me? I hope I get the people back because y'all was in here for the choppy stream. Now I need y'all in here for the good stream. You know, now that we got this thing working, you know, now that we got this thing working. Shout out to the person that just slid up in here. What's the deal with you, player? What's the deal, man? Go ahead and drop a like, or if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, man. I promise to deliver good content. That's what I do. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, let me put this out there for the good peoples. Put this out there for the good peoples. Put this out there for the good peoples. Y'all tell a friend to tell a friend we in here, man. Trying to see where my moderators at. We live up in this thing. I think I got it going live to Facebook as well, but it's on my it's on the multimedia page. I don't know why. I don't know why it's on the multimedia page, but I guess that's cool. I guess. But shout out to that, man. It's on there. What's the what's in some on some manosphere? I mean I'm not a part of the manosphere. Um but I do tap in with some of their content. I'm just not with the extremes. That's my thing. I feel like in today's time, it's a lot of this men versus women type stuff. When truth be told, men need women, women need men, and there's really no other way around that. That's why there's a yin and there's a yang. Teamwork make the dream work. I always say. I think the thing is, what we need to do as a society is learn how to appreciate the differences. You know. But in this particular topic, it might come off a little bit manosphere-ish, because it has to deal with mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Should DNA testing be mandatory at birth? Now, I did post this on my Facebook I know you're like, oh, this nigga's an old head. He on the Facebook. I did post this on Facebook, and mostly just women responded to it, and most of the response was, oh, well, if you wear a condom, you shouldn't have to worry about that. The thing is, that's neither here nor there, because if you are in a relationship or supposed to be in a relationship with someone, there comes a time where the condom thing is not a thing. If there's some type of exclusive commitment going on, and let's just keep it real, most people aren't using condoms. And I never hear women talk about pulling out the female condoms because they do exist. They do exist. But in all my years of living, I ain't never pulled up on a chick and she pulled out the female condom. I've never seen it. Never seen it in my life. And a lot of women, truth be told, do not press a dude to even wear condoms. Now, I do. I for one, am a strong believer in don't be a fool, wrap your tool. Especially if this is just some casual link up. Y'all not really serious about each other type stuff. So you don't know who she's screwing. She don't know who you screwing. And it's all about a rule of three. You know what I'm saying? Because you could trust her, but she may not be trustworthy. She might be screwing somebody that's screwing somebody, and all of that stuff leaks back. But again, my point is it's about accountability, man. And that seems to be a word a lot of women like choose to kind of like get their little Kim on. You say that accountability, they start the little Kim and shit. You feel me? I don't know why, but typically that's just what it is, you know? Typically. But yeah, I'm giving this vertical thing a try. Still fairly new with doing things on my own channel. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get some people in here before I start it because I don't want to start it and then people get in here and we like in the video and they like, man, well, I don't know what happened. What'd she say? What's the deal? You know? But if you in here, drop something in the chat so I know what's up, man. So I know it's real. I'm not asking for a super chat. Drop a hello. Bro, you know what I'm saying? For real though. I don't know where my moderators at. I should do a better job of notifying people that I am going to go live. I typically just do this shit randomly. I don't know why, but yeah, I tend to do that. Um, just you drop something in the chat. Say hello, what up? What is the deal? Nigga, what you talking about? Nigga, you don't know what you talking about. Anything. Shout out to the other person that's in here. Uh I'm not checking my Facebook, so I don't know who can all see it on the Facebook. But I'm gonna get right into it. You feel me? This is Diz3 TV. I am Mr. DIZ Dash itself, aka your favorite DJ. Um, I turn up backyard boogies, card parties, underground parties, clubs, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, corporate gigs, uh, your mama's third marital party, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Family reunions, all of that. Divorce parties, all of that, man. Book your boy, man. I will have my links in the description, and you do know that. But yeah, let's get to some of this content. Let's see something here. So in this clip, this lady is going to talk about DNA testing. I think it starts off. It says 40% of DNA tests. Let's see. Let's get into it. Why not? Why not? Let's get into it. Oh no, not the buffering.
Percent of the children are not the man's child. 40%. He said 40%.
Somebody call
and
Maury.
it's usually
Make DNA testing
it's
mandatory.
It's two scenarios. It's where the person's getting a DNA test because the woman claims that is their child. Turns out it's not. The other one is where the parent is on a deathbed and makes a confession, or they need a liver transplant, blood transfusion, and the blood type. There's no way that can actually be the father. So then they find out because of medical reasons. You mean that's not my father? Then the father finds out from that way. He said it took such a toll.
Hold on. Imagine being on your deathbed. You didn't raise these kids into adulthood, right? Let's just say 20 some years, 30 some years. You got a kidney that went out, whatever. And you're like, I got kids. Maybe my kids can come through for your boy. And they have to do the testing to see if they will be a match. Because they can't just throw any old kidney in you. Gotta see if you're a match. Turns out these kids you didn't raise into adulthood is not your kids. And it's crazy because she said 40%. And that's just the numbers of people who do go down there and test. Now we all know it's been somebody in the family that don't look like nobody else in the family. You know what I'm saying? Grandma had that one kid that don't look like none of your uncles and aunties, but grandpa loved them the same and raised them. There was a time where us as men had to rely on just a woman's word about this being your kid or not. Today, we don't have to do that. Today, you got DNA testing. But it's just a crazy thing. 40%. That's high as hell. And I feel like in today's time, with everybody just getting their sexy red on and hot girl summer and we outside, you feel me? Date them all, sis. Date them all. Drizzle, drizzle. With all of that going on, if DNA testing were mandatory, because I think this is just my thought. This is my thought process. I'm gonna let y'all in a little bit. Most women have a roster. Not saying everybody in that roster is hitting, but some in that roster is hitting. Okay. Um, in that roster, it may be one responsible dude, but it may not be the dude that she actually likes. She might not even really like that nigga like that, right? He might be the nigga. He might be the food nigga. He might be the nigga that she could depend on with a bill or two or whatever. Old reliable, right? Now the nigga that come through in Gucci flip flops and beat that thing down, the one that she be in the group chat about talking about, oh, I wish he would just do right so I could leave all these other niggas. He might be the one smacking it down raw 2 o'clock in the morning. Boom, she pregnant. But this nigga don't want no kid with her. Like that's just out of the question. There's not even no commitment. You know, too many baby showers and and gender reveals with just the mama there. Too many of them. So you got that, and in those instances, they'll put the baby on the dude that's the responsible. It may not even be his, but she know that he's like a good father figure type of dude. You feel me? Like she can see like good father qualities in him, but she may not necessarily like him like that. But that's the one. He got the good job. He got the benefits. I'm gonna put the baby on him, right? And some simp dudes would just take that, like they wouldn't question it. They wouldn't be like, "Oh, baby, I want, think about getting a DNA test," because a lot of the times, like, and I've seen this online, like some women become like very combative and like act like their feelings are hurt at the thought of somebody like asking for a DNA test. Which I feel like if you standing on business, if you like a trustworthy type person and you living your truth, why not? Because it's mama's baby, daddy's maybe. It's very rare somebody baby gets switched at birth and the mama don't know if that's her baby or not. But it is not rare for a man to not know if a kid is his or not. And I feel like hit dogs holler. Like if you have a problem, for example, when I was on my Facebook and I had posted the post, I said DNA test should be mandatory at birth. I stand on that. And there was women like, oh, well, you should wear a condom. You don't have to worry about that. Oh, you reap what you sow and don't put your seed in someone you don't want it to grow in and this, that, and the third. And men don't always show up. Everything except be responsible for your pussy. To me, it screams, I throw a party on my pussy and I don't want nobody to get confirmation of a kid being his or not. I want to be able to just eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You know what I'm saying? You know how I go. You know how I go. But let's get back into it.
On him that he could no longer do it because he would be sitting on the phone counseling the men and the grown children who these women falsely accuse. We see it on Moore, we see it on paternity court, but yet we say men need to be held accountable.
That's crazy. That's crazy when you think about it. To say that men need to be held accountable, but to frown up at the idea of DNA tests is crazy. What y'all think? Y'all think I'm tripping? Y'all think, nah, DNA testing shouldn't be mandatory. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We should just leave that be where it's at. Or, y'all let me know. Drop what you feel in the chat and let me know. Cause I definitely feel like it should be. Definitely feel like it should be. Cause just imagine, you know what I'm saying? You raising a kid unbeknownst to you that ain't even yours, but you establish a connection, like you're there, you know what I'm saying, for years. And then come to find out it ain't even your baby. It ain't even your baby. That's what y'all talking about. No comment? Nobody got a comment? Jeez. Tough crowd in here today. Very tough crowd. But that's all right though, because there's more. But wait, there's more. There is more. Let me get this together real quick, man. Shout out to everybody that's in here, man. The two that's in here, I fucks with y'all. Cause y'all fucks with me, man. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. We're gonna grow this channel. Don't worry about nothing. Let's see here. Y'all let me know if it's choppy. I think it should be cool. Should be cool. Should be cool. Got a lot going on, so it's buffering and all that. And all that.
Ladies, do you think mandatory paternity testing would hurt or help women in today's society? Do you want to stay for this question and then?
Can I pee? I had like 3 Red Bulls.
Okay.
Does not give you wings.
Ladies, do you think mandatory paternity testing would hurt or help women in today's society?
I don't know. I feel like that's such a broad question because I feel like in some ways it could be harmful, but in other ways I think overall it would be helpful in terms of, child support and knowing it. But it's like, that's odd because it's like, what's the circumstances? Is it just like for
so
every
that's what
birth
it
there's a
is.
paternity test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what ways would that be harmful?
Okay, so apparently I'm not getting all of the chat in this streaming app. But L said, "Do you know what this study is actually referring to? It's about for-profit testing labs has false positives and negatives. Sorry about your personal situation if that's what you're referencing." No, I don't know where you would get that. That's a personal situation. Uh, I know my kid is mine. This is not about my personal situation. You're off with that one. Sure, mandatory. If you have access to your child, you can do it yourself too. It's not controversial unless you and your wife are locked in and you out of nowhere decide to know you don't know whose baby it is. It's not an out of nowhere thing. And see, and this is what I think is common with a lot of women. It's the basically putting it on the man like, oh, for me, you out of nowhere not knowing what it is. It's not an out of nowhere thing. It's like I said, women already know if a kid is theirs. They push it out. Unless it's one of those rare cases where your baby was switched at birth, women 95% of the time, and I really think it's 99, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of grace and say 95% of the time know that it's theirs. Men don't. That's just the facts of life. And we can't sit here and pretend that there isn't promiscuous women out here who have multiple partners, let multiple people go in them raw, and then pin babies on a person that ain't really his baby. It's not enough people even doing DNA testing for there to be some conspiracy about it being a for-profit thing. Like, come on now, we got to be serious. You got to be serious. At the end of the day, it is my opinion that if you are with someone, married or not, if a man says, hey, I want to do a DNA test, if you're offended by it, like in my opinion, then hit dog or holler. Because if you ain't out here throwing a party on that thing, it ain't nothing to worry about for you. Like, okay, handle your business. It's cool. A man should have that security in knowing. Let's just be real. Like, I don't even know. I I don't even know. You are wrong there. DNA testers who have less training than clowns. It's a hustle. I have no stake in this, but let's be for real. Um, where's your data at? Do you have data that backs this? Like, I wanna know where your data is that says that they have less training than clowns administering DNA tests. I need to see the references because if you don't have any stake in it, why the pushback? Like it's what ifs. Let's see. I already told you look up the study she was referring to. It's by the NIHB. Okay. So In your opinion, because it is an opinion, it's not a fact, it's your opinion. In your opinion, you think that all of these tests are just false positives and done for profit? But what about the testing that's done when people need, donors, family members need donors, blood transfusions, this, that, and the third? Are those for profits too? Because the same systems can be used to determine paternity. I would like to know. But let's get into this content though.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Just
the
like,
same
just
thing.
like if like the person is an abuser, someone who's like, doesn't necessarily, they don't want to be tied to the person.
Well, I mean, if
That's-
it's that
Yeah,
person's.
but do you have a right to hide paternity based on the fact that the other person's abusive?
I mean, I would want to do anything to get out of it.
You think so?
I do, just because if you're abusive to me, what are you going to do with the child?
Yeah.
That doesn't, okay, listen, you don't have a right to hide the paternity from a father based upon whatever your analysis is of abuse. I've heard things as ridiculous as this. Emotionally abusive,
yeah, what the
which
fuck
means
is that?
nothing. It
Yeah.
means nothing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, it's not.
No, it's not crazy.
It's not. Because
Emotional abuse is nothing.
Yeah,
So two of these women on this panel feels like someone emotionally abusing them, not physically. Someone emotionally abusing, which could be subjective because some things could be appreciated or offensive depending on the audience. It's subjection. So someone who's emotionally abusing them, they should be able to hide the paternity from them because they were emotionally abused. Like, think about how crazy that sounds. Like, you don't have a right to know if this is your kid or not because you hurt my feelings. And what you said, depending on what you said, it might not even have been derogatory. You could have just been stating how you feel. It could be a truth, and a truth that she may not have been able to handle emotionally, but determined you to be emotionally abusive, therefore feeling like in their right to withhold the paternity from you. That's crazy. That's crazy within itself. But that's one of the many reasons why I feel like it should be mandatory at birth. Literally, Google it real quick. I don't have an opinion about mandatory DNA tests. If anything, I think it's positive for children to know who their father is off jump. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole thing. That's my whole thing about this video. That's my whole thing about this video. That's my whole thing about this video. I feel like, to me, there's nothing but a positive in the situation. The only negative that comes from the situation is if somebody wasn't being very forthcoming about the paternity to begin with. If you dibbing and dabbing and doing your own thing, and there is no exclusive commitment to the other person that you're dealing with, that's one thing. But if this is your boyfriend, this is your husband, whatever the case may be, and he wants to know for sure, I don't think that there's a crime in that. I don't think that there should be an outrage or hurt feelings. You know, that's my thing. And that's the general consensus that I was getting, the pushback that I was getting online, not necessarily just from you, L. I'm just saying, what done happened now, Charlie B? I'm just on here talking about mandatory DNA tests. The first video I referenced, there was a lady on there who was referencing a statistic of 40% of DNA testing being ruled to be negative. Basically, fathers finding out that they're not the father, right? And there's two instances where those things have happened. And it was either at birth or when they're like old on their deathbed and needing a donor and they thinking that their kid can be a perfect donor. But when they did the testing, they found out that that wasn't the case. I'm going to look up the study. I'm getting into this content right now. I'm going to look up the study. Trust me on that.
That means nothing. It's
It means
a subjective
nothing. It's
analysis.
subjective. It's
Yeah.
subjective.
Wow. That's an interesting
Well, listen,
perspective.
it is subjective. Give me an objective standard
I mean,
for
I
what's
don't think
emotional
that's
abuse.
subjective in the terms of psychology at all.
Yeah, it is. It's most subjective in psychology.
Exactly.
It's a subjective analysis. So like, let me give you an example. I can give you a really easy one, okay? Let's say that you're going out and you're overspending from my perspective. Like, let's say I'm married to a woman and I say, listen, you're overspending, okay? And you say, well, listen, I really need to spend this because I need X, Y, and Z for the household. You think the paper towel holder and this and that is very important. Maybe it is. Maybe it is important. And I think it isn't. So I go and I cut off your access to that threshold of money and give you a lesser threshold of money that I think is appropriate and you don't think is appropriate. Is that abuse?
In that specific scenario, there's just like several factors to whether or not something is or isn't financial abuse.
Because it's subjective. That's why.
And it's predicated on how the
we
woman
can agree
feels
with
about
Wait,
what you
wait,
say.
hold on.
Because
Hold on. Go ahead.
And it's predicated on how the woman feels about what you say. Like, a lot of women just don't take kindly to being criticized at all. They don't take kindly to a guy. Even if a guy gets moderately upset and he raises his tone a little bit, you have women who will consider that emotional abuse. That's not
I
emotional.
don't, but I mean, to me, emotional
Yeah.
abuse is like verbally saying really degrading, horrible things, and like a systemic thing over a systemic thing over time. Excuse me. And so, I mean,
Like
yeah,
systemic.
maybe I didn't initially understand the point you were trying to make with the suggestive, because
Subjective,
Sorry, I'm
yeah.
stuttering really bad
It's okay.
now.
It's okay.
But in
I don't know. Like I said, I don't think emotional abuse is a reason to hide paternity. I really can't think of most situations to hide paternity from someone. Like, because my thing is, if your partner is an abuser, why would you have a kid with them? Well, I have this motto, it's like everything's done by choice, not by force, unless it's SA. You can't really say that word on YouTube. They do have restrictions. So, unless it's something of that nature, everything is typically done by choice, not by force. So, if you are with an abuser, why would you give said abuser a baby and then feel like you need to hide the paternity from him? Carly B, what you think? Shout out to everybody that's in this live, the 6 people that's in this thing. Please drop a like on the video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. You feel me?
in terms of emotional abuse being a factor, I think is important, though it is suggestive.
So subjective.
Thank you, subjective.
Yeah.
Even though it is subjective, it is something that, I mean,
Well,
has
that-
long-standing effects on both
Yeah, right,
parent and
but-
child. But when my initial point, I was thinking more so abuse of the other aspects, because emotional is, it is impactful, but it's not as dangerous to like the health of the
Yeah, but then
child
you-
versus the other ones.
So let's move into, okay, if fair enough, you say, okay, when it comes to this, it's subjective, so maybe we wouldn't hide paternity on that. But if we move over to physical abuse, let's say, right? You think that that's cut and dry. Well, what if this guy he's convicted of physically abusing the mom. Then shouldn't we be able to hide paternity? If she says, yeah, I still say no, and here's why. Because plenty of people get accused of doing domestic violence or doing things like this, and they haven't actually done it. And so we're going to yield to the word of the woman in this case and hide the paternity of that man's child for something which could easily be a falsehood. That's immoral to the utmost in my worldview.
Okay, and I see that, but for me, it's like, if you're talking about a mandated paternity test, then at that point, that's the government getting involved in between the relationship and the personal affairs of people. And I am the kind of person that prefers to step.
That's wild. That's wild. Now, like I said, I am in no shape, way, form, or fashion excusing people who are abusers at all. It's not something that should be taking place. You know, I feel like if you have to put your hands on a woman, you should just leave. Like, there's always an opportunity and option to leave. So, but again, if you are with an abuser, why would you give an abuser a kid? Like, why would you make a baby with them? Because typically, like, the signs of an abuser is usually there before that level of commitment is made. Just saying. Just saying. But y'all let me know in the chat, man. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Let's get into this a little bit. Let's see.
Over people's autonomy.
But let me ask you a question. Let's say, do you want kids one day?
No.
Oh, okay.
So this isn't, honestly, for
Okay.
me, this is just like a thing that I don't really want to do.
Hold on.
I mean, that was kind of an asshole move, but
Let's keep
that
it nice.
was a
Let's
real
keep it nice.
asshole move.
Yeah, let's keep it nice, guys. Let's keep it nice, okay?
Because some people are smart enough to know what's best for them, and for me in my life,
Okay.
I don't want to have children.
Just let me ask the question, okay?
But I would, if I wanted to,
Okay.
be a good mother.
Okay, so my question is though, do you think, you said you wouldn't want the government involved when it comes to paternity testing, whatever. So are you not in favor of child support? Women receiving child support, for example?
So I believe that whoever has the child should have support from the other partner, regardless of their gender. I think that if
Okay.
a single father has the full custody of the child, which which is enforced by the courts.
The state.
The government.
The
But
state, yeah.
you said you don't want the government involved with mandatory paternity testing, so I'm just confused. But
Well, I mean, look, the government has its role, all right? The government has its role, and I don't, I mean, at the end of the day.
But you do realize that, like, for example, in a child support dispute,
Mm-hmm.
that the government would actually require, if the man
Yes, and then that's a
disputes
case by case
paternity.
basis, but when you're putting in a mandated paternity test, then that is adding a complicated layer of paperwork and
Let's see. I wouldn't give them nothing, but if the abuse comes after y'all done had the baby already, I wouldn't stay there. I wouldn't stay. Been there before. Yeah, I get that. Now, if it comes after, yeah, I get that. But after, after the baby, I'm pretty sure, the abuser or, knows if that's his kid or not. My whole point is like, why? Because she said, abuse is a reason to hide the paternity. I would do a test either way. You will still take care of this baby. Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if baby is his, for sure. You have a duty and obligation to, handle your business. If you laid down with it and created a baby with it, you got to do what you got to do. But if it ain't yours, hey, me personally, I'm out of there. Like, if it's not mine, nah, we not doing that. Because you could have just kept it real from the jump. You know what I'm saying? Could have just kept it real from the jump. Because had I not requested a DNA test, you, knowing like, okay, I was laying down with somebody else while I was quote unquote laying down with him. You already knew, but if I would have never requested this test, then 18 years. Been paying child support and found out the baby wasn't even his. That shit is crazy. When they start putting hands on you, they tend to say the baby is not theirs. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Me personally, I haven't had that experience. I don't know anything about that. But if that's typically what happens, that's crazy. You know? If that's typically what happens, that's crazy. But like I said, like we are not living in the days where the testing is not available. Like I recommend it to anybody. I mean, okay, abuse and all that aside, let's just say you was dealing with someone, you happen to get pregnant, blah, 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 and he wants to have a DNA test at birth. Do you get offended? Because I've seen women say, well, if I'm married, then that's the day I get a divorce because I can't believe he would even ask me. Like, would you get offended?
No, it's just literally as
For-
you're already in the hospital. It's actually the perfect scenario to
But like,
have
does that apply to
really, the
married?
conditions couldn't be
Here's my
better,
further
could they?
questions: is
Yeah.
like, does that apply to married couples or couples that are still together,
Yeah.
or are we okay?
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, here, let's just go around the table so anybody can
literally
answer
everybody.
this. Do you think mandatory paternity testing would hurt or help women in today's society?
Would mandatory paternity tests hurt or help women?
In today's
Or
society?
just be good?
That's one of the super chat questions.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have any children, but I don't see why it would be a problem.
Okay, Madison?
I feel like with the way, not all women, but like a majority of women are moving nowadays, like it could be very harmful to their children and the
Wait,
man.
What would
do
be
you mean?
harmful?
Elle says, honestly, who cares if you're having sex with a girl who's doing it with other men? Yeah, you might have to. Laughing my ass off sounds like a personal issue. How is it like, where are you getting the personal issue part at? I'm confused. Like, are you saying a personal issue for me, or are you saying like it sounds like a personal issue on the man? Because in both instances, it's not a personal issue. Number one, I'm not going through that, never have been through that. On the other side, um, it's not a personal issue. If it take two to make and take two to raise, then two people are all involved in it. And if one person is not being forthcoming and lying about it, so a person is just supposed to raise a kid they don't know because you feel like it's a personal issue on anyone who needs a DNA test. I mean, that's very dismissive, but typical. Typical. I'm sure a committed partner I'm sure a committed partner will feel offended, but she probably wouldn't commit to someone who feels like that about them. Look up the study. Like you are really on the study. The thing is, I'm going to look into the study, but my focus isn't on the numbers. My focus is on the fact that it should be mandatory, despite whether it's truly 40% of um, typical of what normal people who aren't promiscuous. Um, no, it's typical of some people to be dismissive about something such as serious as paternity testing. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, I think unanimously women would want to know if the kid is theirs. That's what I'm saying. It's not a personal issue. It's actually a worldly issue. It has to do with population. It has to do with child support. It has to do with a lot of things. So I don't think there's nothing really personal about it. But hey, opinions are like assholes. We all got them, you know.
Paternity testing, like if they found out the
Like breaking up
child's
families.
dad was not the guy that she was with, like that would be breaking their family apart.
It's a,
From a mandatory place. I mean, I see your point. I see your point.
I don't.
what about the truth?
No, I think the truth is great. I think,
Okay.
yeah, no,
Right,
absolutely,
but-
everyone should know the truth. But I think it's going to be terrible for the children if the truth
Oh,
is
so you're in
revealed.
favor-
That's
are
what
you
I'm
in
saying.
favor of
with the way a
paternity
lot of women
testing?
are moving nowadays, they're like a lot of children aren't going to be having
I
dads
see.
anymore.
So it would be bad for women,
crazy.
but you don't object to paternity testing?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm for it.
So you acknowledge, okay, I see. Are you in favor of that, Andrew? It sounds like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that the rates of paternity, which are lied about, is wildly understated. Wildly understated. And yeah, absolutely. I think that if mandatory paternity testing was done, there would be significant problems for women, but the kind of problems that I think they should see, which is responsibility.
Bingo. Bingo. And there we have it. There we have it. I was waiting for somebody on the panel to say it. I felt like it was going to happen. And there it is. Because that's what it boils down to at the end of the day, responsibility. Men have to bear that responsibility financially, or they face jail, lose their license. There's penalties put in place to ensure that a man faces his responsibility. But women have no responsibility in the matter because why? There's incentives. There's mm, this notion of being beyond reproach. Like even sharing an opinion that is unpopular can garner like hurt feelings. And since emotional abuse is subjective, they can say, oh, you're being emotionally abusive because you're requesting a DNA test. Like the comment that L said, I'm sure a committed partner will feel offended, but she probably wouldn't commit to someone who feels that way about them. Well, why would you have a baby with someone who feels that way about you? Why would you try to pin a baby on someone that feels about? Why would you even lay down with somebody? The thing is, I feel like you're going into it like there is no promiscuous women out there. Like every woman is trustworthy. And sadly, that's not the case. That's not the case, especially in today's time. I mean, even back then, but back then there was really no way of telling. We just had to go off the word of a woman. Hey, this is your baby. The baby got green eyes. Nobody in my family got green eyes. Nobody in your family got green eyes. But the baby got green eyes, and it's my baby. You know what I'm saying? It's wild to me. But all in all, like I said, my general opinion of it at the end of the day, it should definitely be mandatory. There should be no, it really shouldn't be no being offended or like pushback about it. Like, like I don't even have an opinion outside of that because it's like it's pretty much cut and dry. Like, why would there be unless you're out doing dirt and you don't want that dirt to come to light? Which even then, like the kids suffer. Like, why would you want to bring a kid into this world and not have the kid know who their dad is? Like, that's the most trifling shit in the world, if you ask me. That's a very selfish decision, and it's trifling. And you know, accountability is a two-way street. Responsibility is a two-way street. It's not a gender specific thing. That's all I'm saying. It's not a gender specific thing. But yeah, if y'all want to check out the rest of the video, it is called "Should Paternity Test Be Mandatory?" Heated debate by whatever clips. They have over 1.11 million subscribers. So apparently they've been doing this. You feel me? I'm new to this. Stay true to this. But yeah, man, I will double back with more content. I appreciate people stopping through. This is my first vertical live. Didn't really see that much of a difference in numbers, but hey, I'm gonna give it a shot again on my next one. We got some more stuff to react to. I will be dropping some pre-recorded videos. So, you know what I'm saying? If you didn't like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? All that. But yeah, it's been real.